There is a very specific kind of satisfaction in watching a dark, neglected, slightly sad-looking cabin transform into something genuinely magical, the kind of transformation where you have to look twice at the before photo just to confirm it is actually the same building. Today I am walking you through 10 real before and after cabin makeovers, the kind of renovations that took a dim, dated, or simply unfinished structure and turned it into the cozy forest retreat it was always capable of becoming. Stay until the end because the final transformation on this list is honestly one of the most dramatic I have come across. Quick ask before we start. Before we get into these transformations, if before and after content genuinely satisfies you the way it satisfies me, go ahead and hit that like button, it helps this video reach more people. Subscribe if you want more renovation and design content like this, and let me know in the comments which transformation impressed you the most. Let us get into it. Why cabin makeovers hit differently than other renovations? Before we walk through these 10 transformations, it helps to understand why cabin renovations specifically tend to generate such strong before and after reactions compared to other home renovation content. Most cabins start their life with genuinely good architectural bones, solid timber framing, decent natural light potential, an interesting roofline, simply buried under decades of dated paneling, poor lighting choices, or neglect that obscured what was always structurally there. Renovation and design trend reports through 2025 have repeatedly noted that this specific category, restoring rather than rebuilding from scratch, tends to produce more dramatic visual transformations precisely because the underlying structure was already interesting, it just needed someone to finally see it clearly. Makeover 1: The dark paneled living room transformation. This cabin started with a living room defined by heavy orange-toned wood paneling from floor to ceiling, the kind of finish that was genuinely popular decades ago but that absorbs far more light than it reflects, leaving the entire room feeling noticeably darker than its actual window count should have allowed. The renovation kept the original tongue and groove wood boards intact, since the bones of that paneling were structurally fine, but applied a limewash-style whitewash treatment that let the wood grain remain visible while dramatically brightening the overall tone of the room. Paired with new warm-toned lighting and a few strategically placed mirrors to bounce available daylight further into the space, the room went from feeling like a cave to feeling genuinely bright and cozy at the same time. Makeover 2: The neglected stone fireplace revival. In this transformation, the cabin's original stone fireplace had been painted over entirely in a flat white at some point in its history, a choice that flattened all the natural texture and shadow variation that makes hand-stacked stone so visually interesting in the first place. Removing that paint required a careful, multi-step process using specialized paint stripping products designed specifically for masonry, since aggressive sandblasting risks damaging the stone itself. Once the original stone was fully exposed and cleaned, the natural color variation and texture immediately became the focal point of the entire room again, proving that sometimes the most dramatic makeover involves removing something rather than adding it. Makeover 3: The outdated kitchen galley transformation. This cabin's original kitchen featured dark laminate countertops, fluorescent overhead lighting, and cabinetry finished in a glossy varnish that felt distinctly out of step with the rustic structure surrounding it. The renovation replaced the laminate with a thick butcher block countertop, swapped the fluorescent fixtures for warm pendant lighting, and refinished the existing cabinet boxes rather than replacing them entirely, sanding down that glossy varnish and applying a matte natural oil finish instead. This kind of refinish rather than replace approach has become genuinely popular in cabin renovation circles through 2025 and into 2026, partly for cost reasons but increasingly because designers have recognized that original cabinetry often has better proportions and solid wood construction that modern flat-pack replacements simply cannot match. Makeover 4: The cold concrete floor warm-up. A cabin with a perfectly functional but visually and physically cold poured concrete floor underwent one of the more clever transformations on this list, layering large area rugs in natural jute and wool over the concrete rather than undertaking the considerably more expensive process of fully replacing the flooring. Combined with radiant floor heating elements installed beneath select rug zones, a retrofit option that has become more accessible and affordable through recent years, the room gained genuine warmth underfoot without sacrificing the practical durability that concrete flooring offers in a forest cabin setting prone to mud and moisture. Makeover 5: The cluttered loft bedroom reset. This cabin's sleeping loft had accumulated years of mismatched furniture and storage clutter that visually competed with the genuinely beautiful exposed timber beams overhead, beams that had essentially become invisible under the visual noise of everything else in the room. The renovation involved a significant decluttering and editing process, removing roughly half the furniture entirely, repainting the few remaining pieces in a single cohesive cream tone, and adding simple linen bedding in neutral colors that let the architecture, rather than the furnishings, finally become the visual star of the room. Makeover 6: The dim entryway lighting overhaul. A surprisingly small but genuinely impactful makeover on this list involved nothing more than the cabin's entryway lighting, which had originally relied on a single harsh overhead fixture that created unflattering shadows and made the entire arrival experience feel uninviting. Swapping that single fixture for a layered combination, a warm-toned wall sconce at eye level, a small table lamp on an entry console, and battery-operated flameless candles for additional ambient glow, transformed the first impression of the entire cabin without touching a single structural element. Makeover 7: The water-damaged ceiling restoration. This particular cabin had suffered genuine water damage to its ceiling from a roof leak that had gone unaddressed for some time, leaving visible staining and some structural concern around several of the original wood beams. The renovation required first properly resolving the underlying roof issue, since no cosmetic fix would have meant anything without addressing the actual source of the leak, before replacing the damaged sections of tongue and groove ceiling boards with reclaimed wood sourced specifically to match the weathering and tone of the original material. This entry serves as a useful reminder that the most successful cabin makeovers often start with unglamorous structural repairs that never show up dramatically in a before and after photo but make everything else possible. Makeover 8: The generic builder-grade bathroom transformation. A cabin bathroom that had originally been fitted with standard builder-grade fixtures, a plain white acrylic tub, basic chrome hardware, and flat builder paint, felt completely disconnected from the rustic character of the rest of the structure. The renovation introduced a freestanding cast iron soaking tub, swapped the chrome hardware for aged brass fixtures, and added board and batten wood paneling on the lower half of the walls, immediately tying the bathroom's material language back into the timber and stone vocabulary used throughout the rest of the cabin. Makeover 9: The overgrown exterior and deck revival. Not every makeover on this list happens indoors. This particular cabin's exterior deck had become genuinely overrun, weathered gray wood, a tangle of overgrown vegetation pressing directly against the structure, and a general sense of neglect visible from the moment anyone approached the building. The renovation involved pressure washing and restaining the original deck boards rather than replacing them outright, since the wood itself was structurally sound beneath the weathering, paired with thoughtful, selective pruning that opened up clear sight lines into the surrounding forest rather than removing the greenery entirely, a distinction that mattered enormously to the final result. Makeover 10: The complete whole cabin transformation. The final and most dramatic entry on this list involved a cabin that had been left genuinely neglected for years, dated finishes throughout every room, a non-functional original wood stove, water damage in multiple areas, and decades of accumulated clutter from previous owners. This renovation touched nearly every system covered across the previous 9 makeovers simultaneously: structural roof and water damage repairs, a full kitchen and bathroom refresh using refinish rather than replace techniques wherever the existing materials allowed, lighting overhauls throughout, and a complete exterior deck and landscaping revival. What made this particular transformation so striking was not any single change in isolation, but the cumulative effect of applying every lesson from the other 9 makeovers to a single structure, turning what had genuinely become an eyesore into what now reads as one of the coziest, most thoughtfully restored forest cabins imaginable. What every successful cabin makeover has in common. Looking back across all 10 of these transformations, a clear pattern emerges that holds true regardless of budget or scope. The most successful cabin makeovers consistently prioritize working with the original structure rather than fighting against it, refinishing existing wood rather than ripping it out entirely, addressing underlying structural problems before applying any cosmetic fix, and choosing warm, layered lighting over anything harsh or single source. Design professionals specializing in cabin and rustic property renovation through 2025 and into 2026 have repeatedly emphasized this exact philosophy, that the goal is almost never to erase a cabin's history and character, but rather to finally let that character be seen clearly again after years of neglect or dated choices obscured it. From a whitewashed living room to a complete whole cabin restoration, these 10 makeovers prove that even the most neglected, dated, or genuinely sad-looking forest cabin almost always has something genuinely cozy and beautiful hiding underneath, waiting for the right renovation choices to finally bring it back out. If these transformations gave you inspiration for your own space, or just satisfied that part of your brain that loves a good before and after, subscribe for more renovation and design content just like this. Let me know in the comments which makeover impressed you the most, and I will see you in the next video.